Hello everybody, it is me, Brooklyn. Like I said in my birth story video, I am back officially from my maternity leave and I am getting so many questions in my DMs and comments about postpartum. So I figured I would do a postpartum Q&A video today. How has your mental health been postpartum? If you hear like a weird noise, it's because I am pumping as we speak. Everything that I answer is gonna just be based off of my personal experience. Obviously other people can have different experiences. I've only had one kid, so I'm not an expert. I'm also not a doctor, so putting it out there, this is all based on my personal experience, but let's get into it. Someone said, did you tear when you gave birth? No, I did not tear. My midwife said that I had like a tiny little tear, but it wasn't even considered like a 1 degree and I didn't need stitches or anything. So I basically did not tear when I gave birth, and that did make my recovery a lot easier, obviously, because I wasn't healing from stitches. Is breastfeeding hard? I've heard a lot of people say that their nipples bleed, crack, and get bitten. That is all true. Breastfeeding is actually probably the hardest part of postpartum for me so far. Archer, he actually latches and like drinks very well. My nipples did crack and bleed quite a bit in the beginning, and honestly, I have struggled a lot with healing my nipples. It's still a little bit painful to this day. I do like pumping because it does not hurt as bad, but I've been trying to breastfeed as much as possible. So I have one nipple that has a nipple fissure, which basically means it's like got a really big crack in it that will not heal. So I have a harder time when I have to breastfeed on that side. Like, it just hurts a little bit more. I have worked with a lactation consultant and she has helped me figure out how to like start healing my nipples and just like make breastfeeding better. So that has been working really great for me. So if you're scared of breastfeeding, don't be scared. You just have to figure out how to do it right. So consult with like a lactation consultant or a doctor and make sure that your baby's latching correctly and you will be fine. TMI, but did Dakota say it feels different down there? He has not said anything about it feeling any different. I honestly, I don't even know if I've really asked. I have asked him if he thinks it looks different and he said no. Personally, I don't think it feels any different, and maybe a little better. And I don't know if he really thinks it feels any different. Someone said, what were your favorite nursing bras? When I tell y'all that I bought 5 to 7 different brands of nursing bras because I had no idea what I was gonna like, and everyone has a different opinion. Some people like the ones that are really loose and can just, they don't have a clip, they just kind of open. Some people like the ones that clip down. Some people like structure. Some people don't like structure. Some people like pads. Some people don't like pads. So I bought like 7 different brands of nursing and pumping bras, and my #1 favorite brand and bra was the Mom Cozy nursing bra, and I literally ended up buying like 7 more, and that's all I wear. I have all these other bras and I literally don't touch them. I only wear the Mom Cozy ones. They feel like a normal bra, but they don't have any underwire, and that's what I like, is like support. They also have a clip and they're really easy to clip and unclip. I'll put the link in the description box for anybody who wants to check those out, because that is for sure my favorite nursing bra, and I tried quite a few brands. Do you have any hair loss? How did you handle it? So I'm almost 8 weeks postpartum and I have not lost any hair. I don't know if that just means that I'm lucky and I'm not gonna lose any, or someone told me the other day that sometimes it can hit a couple months later. So maybe I will lose hair in a few months, or maybe I won't lose hair at all, who knows? But so far I've not lost any hair, and I can't decide if that's because I'm just lucky or if it's because I use my mom's hair brand, Heritage, and like her products are so clean and so good. That's my plug for Heritage. Someone said they're still deciding on if they want kids. What has been the hardest and easiest parts? The hardest part of having a kid has probably been the feeding schedule. You just have to figure out timing and scheduling and leaking and pain and how to deal with it, and like you kind of have to revolve your plans and your life around it. And that's kind of how breastfeeding is. If you are someone who doesn't want to do that, you could also formula feed and your baby's totally gonna be fine. A fed baby is the best baby. And then the easiest parts of having a baby is the baby itself. Everyone says that like newborns are really hard, and to a degree that is true, simply because they need you all of the time. Like, they need you for food, they need you to change their diaper, they need you to sleep, like they need you all the time. But I love that. It is just the most insane thing. The way that you love that baby, it does not matter what they do. It doesn't matter if it's literally 3 o'clock in the morning and they're screaming bloody murder. You pick them up and you are smiling. It is the best thing ever. I don't know how to explain it. I don't understand the chemical, biological element of that, but the best and easiest part of having a baby is actually like the baby itself. Would you do a birth again? I would 100%. The actual birth itself was hell on earth. It was terrible. I will not lie to anybody. The pain was really bad. Like really bad. Like the worst thing I've ever felt. And I would still do it again because the experience itself, like I had total control of what was happening all the time. But on top of that, I healed so fast. Like I just feel like my healing process was so good. Like I didn't tear. My recovery was quick. I just bounced back really quick. So I would 100% do it again. And I would totally advocate for it if anyone is interested. I would totally do it. What pump do you use and do you like it? So I have 2 pumps. I have the Spectra. I don't know what model it is. It's the blue Spectra for like when I'm at home, and then when I'm on the go like I am right now, I have the portable Mom Cozy pumps. There you go. I haven't honestly, but I haven't tried any other pumps, to be fair. Those are the only pumps I've tried and I like both of them. Although I will say it's really important, make sure you get measured for your flange size. That is the size of basically your nipple. It's really important that you have the right size flange because it helps you produce more milk and also helps like your nipples not basically crack, bleed, and tear. So if you are buying a pump, make sure that you also buy the right size flange because they do not come with them. Fun fact, what did it look like down there like a day or 2 after you gave birth? I didn't really look because my doctor's #1 recommendation was don't look down there. But I do remember like sitting down to pee at one point and looking down, and everything was so swollen, like almost unrecognizable. It's so swollen, and I literally was like, oh my gosh, like what the crap. It only took like 3 days before I felt like at least from the outside, everything looked normal again. It was just for the first couple of days that I was like, holy crap. But I mean, that's gonna happen no matter what you're doing. So that's pretty normal. But it only took me like 3 or 4 days before I felt like everything externally looked fairly normal. But for the first couple days there, it was a little scary. It was a little like, oh my gosh, what is that? Because you just gave birth to a baby. How has your mental health been postpartum? It's been really interesting. You know, a lot of people talk about postpartum depression, anxiety, postpartum rage, like all of these things because your hormones are just like off the charts when you've given birth to a baby up until day 11 postpartum. And something about day 11, I don't know if it was just like my hormones just decided to all crash out at the same time. I don't know what, but I kid you not, I was like a monster. Like I won't even lie to you. Like I felt depressed, I felt anxious, I felt angry, I felt all of the above, like poor Dakota. Like I was raging all day long. Like it was terrible. And then after day 11, I went right back to being normal. I've been totally fine since then. I don't know, maybe that's just the way that my body handled it. It was just like wanted to have one really horrible day and then be fine. I will say that I am a little bit weepier. My mom says that's just being a mom. So I don't know if that's postpartum necessarily, but I do cry more often. Other than that though, I've been fine. Just day 11 was really bad. But my doctor also checks in with me regularly to make sure I'm doing okay and like to monitor symptoms for postpartum depression and anxiety and rage and all of that. How long did it take for you to actually feel normal again? I felt like I could have gotten back to having sex probably around 3 weeks postpartum. That's when I felt like I could be like, yeah, let's go. Like I feel like I'm healed. We didn't do that, but I felt like I could. But when it comes to actually feeling like, okay, I feel 100% back, I probably would say 6 or 7 weeks. When my bleeding stopped postpartum is when I finally felt like, oh, I feel like a human again. There's just something about having like a really long period that you don't feel 100% yourself. It was probably solidly like 6 or 7 weeks before I finally felt semi-human again. But 3 weeks before I felt healed. How was going to the bathroom after having your baby? I personally had no issues going to the bathroom. I did have hemorrhoids, so that was the most painful part, honestly, was the hemorrhoids, but that did not prevent me from going to the bathroom. You just kind of have to like do it, if that makes sense. You just have to relax and let it happen. I did not take any stool softeners either. I probably should have, but I honestly didn't have too much of a hard time in the beginning anyway. I would have been a lot more scared if I had stitches, but I didn't have stitches. Did you use any sort of compression band for your stomach? No, but I wanted to just let my body heal as naturally as it wanted to, at the pace it wanted to. And so I did not use like a waist trainer or anything like that. I have just kind of been hands off and let my body do what it wants to do. How were your cramps when your uterus was shrinking while breastfeeding? Yeah, that was something I actually didn't like know a ton about because your uterus is like really stretched out when it gives birth to a baby. When you breastfeed after you have the baby, for the first like handful of of days, it will make your uterus shrink, and so it can cause a lot of cramping. I would say that it was painful, but no more painful than a normal period cramp. I did take like a little thing called After Ease, which was like an herbal medication, and that definitely helped ease some of the pain. Also just like ibuprofen, if you want to take ibuprofen, that would definitely help. Like right around when my milk came in, I kind of stopped having a lot of cramping while I breastfed. Is the postpartum bleeding as bad as they say it is? Yeah, it is. For 3 days, it's super crazy and you're just like bleeding like a crazy person. Some people bleed to 8 weeks, some people only bleed for 4, but it's really just more annoying at that point because nobody wants to have a period for 2 months, like no one. And you can't use tampons till you're cleared by doctors. What were your must-have products postpartum? I definitely would recommend for the mom, you have some kind of maxi pads, ice packs, adult diapers, witch hazel wipes, like a perineal numbing spray, a peri bottle, good nursing bras, something to help heal your nipples because they will hurt and they will crack and they will bleed for the first little while. Other than that, postpartum for me, I feel like everything else was kind of just like a bonus, but those were my, like, I absolutely feel like I will buy all of that the next time I have a baby. What is your relationship with Dakota like now that you've had a baby? It's definitely interesting. A lot of people mentioned to me that you kind of start to feel like roommates. I can see where people are coming from with that because obviously if you're following like doctor recommendation, you are not having sex for about 6 to 8 weeks postpartum, and sex is like a really big part of being in a relationship. I don't feel like we quite felt like roommates because when I tell you that, like, as soon as I gave birth, seeing Dakota become a dad, like I just fell in love with him so much more. Like it's just like another deeper level of attraction. Despite the fact that you're like losing a little bit of your intimacy, you're also building it in another way, if that makes sense. So I feel like Dakota and I's relationship at the end of the day is probably going to be stronger. You know, eventually you can reintroduce the physical intimacy, but now you've built this really great mental and emotional intimacy. That is kind of how I feel, but there were a couple weeks where, you know, you're sleep deprived and you don't have intimacy and you don't feel good and things can get kind of tough. So I can see why people feel kind of like roommates for a little while, but it doesn't last forever. I can tell you that. It does not last forever. What was it like the day your milk came in? My mom warned me. She said, your boobs will feel ginormous. And I thought I knew what that was like, but I did not know what that was like. My milk came in, I think day 4 postpartum, and I woke up and I felt like my boobs were to my chin. Like to my chin, and they felt like they were rocks. Like actual rocks. Like they did not squish, they did not bounce, nothing. Like they're just rock hard because they're so full of milk. Like the really engorged boobs lasted probably 5 or 6 days. I don't think my milk regulated until 6 weeks. Like I felt like I still occasionally got engorged until 6 weeks postpartum, and now I feel like my boobs are finally regulating to where they don't get ginormous, they don't feel like rocks anymore, they just kind of make milk as I go. Be prepared for like literally the world's biggest adjustment on your boobs if your milk comes in. Someone said dealing with body image in a changing body. Like it is healthy for you to gain weight. That comes with a lot of difficulty with your body image. Like it just does. That's just the way it goes. So I had a really hard time when I was pregnant, especially because by the end of my pregnancy, I was so swollen. I looked in the mirror and didn't even recognize myself. But I will be honest with you, I totally anticipated having a really hard time with my body image after I had a baby. And I've been really lucky in the fact that, I don't know if it's just because I love Archer so much, but I have accepted the way that I look to a certain degree because it is the sacrifice I did or like I took in order to have a baby. So yeah, my body looks a little different. Yeah, I have a little bit more weight than I did before, but I actually don't hate it because it's what gave me my baby. So that's kind of how I look at it. Also, I just think like a woman's body is beautiful no matter what you do, and it's incredible the things that it can do. So we should love it no matter what. Let me know if you want me to do a part 2 or answer more questions for y'all. I'm happy to answer all of the TMI questions because I had a lot of questions postpartum. I'll put a lot of the links for the products I talked about in the description box as well. I will see you guys next week. Bye y'all.